Welcome to Evil Dead Week on Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review The Evil Dead from 1981, where they got up on the wrong side of the grave.
Written and directed by Sam Raimi, starring Bruce Campbell, Ellen Sandweiss, Richard DeManincor, Theresa Tilly, and Betsy Baker, The Evil Dead is about a group of 5 friends who go to a cabin and unleash evil spirits which slowly start possessing them. So what do we like?
This film had some of the best cinematography I have ever seen when trying to set a mood. All of the movements, the tracking shots, you felt that you were in this film. You felt the awkwardness, you felt the tension, and Sam Raimi executed this perfectly.
Those extreme close-ups were fantastic. I love the actual camera moves as well, when we have the shot behind Bruce's head or above Bruce's head and it kind of slowly goes to the front of him. That's just amazing. You can't say enough about the cinematography in this one.
And the whole shot right from the beginning of the camera just POV moving through the woods, that there is an iconic shot. If you ever see that in today's cinema, it's because of The Evil Dead.
And what's great about that too is that you're seeing essentially evil's essence. You have this overwhelming sense of tension because any time this camera is moving that quickly through the forest, you're like, oh my god, something's gonna happen. You just slowly start to become terrified for these people in this cabin. And that is what makes this a classic. The tension in general in this movie is just amazing. It's actually a scary movie. And yes, we know the rest of the series kinda gets a little wacky. But this one was intentionally scary, and it had its slapstick as well. But there are tons of jump scares, genuine jump scares, where you're just like, holy shit, I didn't see that coming. You have crazy intense moments like Cheryl getting raped by trees and vines, and it's really unsettling and just really makes you feel for the characters and the situations. There's just something about this entire movie that will get under everybody's skin.
We're getting the perspective of the demons, we're getting the perspective of the characters, and he leaves these shots on for long enough that okay, something's in the window, something's in the door. He's guiding us with these tricks, and we're feeling the suspense as the characters are feeling them.
Another huge factor in setting the mood for this movie and the tone is the score from Joe LaDuca, because for most of the movie, there is no dialogue at all. And the entire score just kind of guides you through all of the emotions that you feel in tandem with the cinematography. You can't have one without the other, especially in this kind of movie, and it was phenomenal.
The lighting and the fog really brings it home. You just get in these situations where you're seeing nothing because the fog is taking up everything, or there's times where there's the one pot light behind them and we're casting shadows. This film creates the best atmosphere you could ever imagine when you want to be involved and engaged in a movie and just have yourself feel like you're in the cabin, that you're in the woods, and they captured it.
I also want to talk about the pacing of this movie. This is a very, very quick-paced movie. Right after the opening scene, our 5 characters get to the cabin. There's no dilly-dallying whatsoever. Once they're in there, they start discovering the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon. Immediately, Cheryl starts losing her mind. You can start to see everything progress in a very quick manner. Within 40 minutes or 30 minutes, everybody's possessed. And it's just a shit show from there on with some of the best practical effects from the 80s.
The characters themselves, the way that this film develops them, it doesn't give you who the characters are. We're used to seeing oh, this person's this type, this person's this type, and we see them develop and then they have to face the consequences of the evil. In this case, we don't know who they are. The evil hits, and we're learning about them. We're learning that Ash is dating Linda. We're learning about Scott and Shelley. We're learning about the situation as they're dealing with this situation.
I do want to talk about the practical effects because they are absolutely top-notch. We have tons of blood spraying everywhere, all over poor Bruce Campbell, multiple times. The best use of milk I've ever seen. Everything, from people getting cut up to a pencil in poor Linda's Achilles. The gore is just amazing.
They play off the idea of stop motion, which is a technique that is lost in modern film, but they utilized it perfectly to make it seem like it was realistic, that it was seamless. But what's also cool about the practical effects is the camera tricks they used. They had like bodies buried under the ground and heads popping up, or they had like the bodies laying on the ground and like the head underneath so that the arms can flap. Like they had all these weird and cool different techniques, and just like the demon bodies themselves, like when they have them like running around like they're little puppets, and the one time Scott just like smashes it with the axe and it just drops instantly.
I also loved seeing young Bruce Campbell. It's so different to see like a shy Bruce Campbell not throwing one-liners all over the place. This isn't something that we're used to at all. So going back and watching a young version of him, and you can see where Ash developed. It's actually hilarious to see. We don't have any dislikes for this movie, so we're gonna move right on to our final thoughts and ratings. The Evil Dead is classic for a reason, because it does everything right. Its pacing is perfect, the lighting, the cinematography, and the score are all outstanding. The acting is on point, and we have Bruce Campbell fighting his friends who are possessed in brutal, gory ways. The Evil Dead is one of my favorite movies. You know, I have to give this 5 my first boomsticks out of 5.
The Evil Dead is one of those films that you can go back, watch it over and over again, and it's still gonna have the same effect. From a technical standpoint, the cinematography was fantastic. And in my opinion, it is a groundbreaker to where we are today with horror. And Sam Raimi just really knew what he was doing. Bruce Campbell is the icon that he is today because of this film. And honestly, there is nothing wrong with this movie. It hit everything 100%. So that being said, I'm gonna give this film 5 bitch slaps out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video, and let us know your thoughts on The Evil Dead in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel to stay updated with our reactions, reviews, and games of What Would You Do?